An air conditioning tune-up is very simple, and a lot of things can be overlooked. A lot of homeowners think that maybe it's not necessary to have the air conditioning tuned up, but there's a lot of things that are really important. So the outside condensing unit, that's that box that you see outside of your home, it really needs to be clear of debris, or sometimes you see bushes and things that are kind of growing into it, or people build fences around them, or obstruct them. It's really important that there's no obstruction, because that's how the unit effectively breathes. It has to breathe. And if it's obstructed, it won't work. So dirt and debris and things get into those units and need to be cleaned out. So that's one of the primary things that's really important when it comes to an air conditioning tune-up. And that's not necessarily something that you have to pay a technician for. You can do that yourself. You can clean that out. You can squirt it down with a hose. You can buy a coil cleaner. But it's better to have someone who does it all the time, do that. So, why an air conditioning tune-up is really important is you got to make sure that outside unit is clean. We're also checking electrical components that go bad. They weaken, capacitor, contactor. These are things that generally fail when it's 95 degrees outside, and you have people over and you don't want your air conditioning to be not working. So checking, cleaning the unit, checking those components, checking superheat and subcool, which is a fancy way of saying the health of the refrigerant of the system. The system uses refrigerant to effectively make the cooling. And if that recipe is not right in the system, when there's a lot of load, it's not going to work properly. So these are all things that, they're preventative. It's like taking your car to get checked, to get an oil change. If you don't do it, the chances of you having issues are going to go up significantly. In South Jersey, we have 4 seasons, and it can get really hot. And it's really important that your air conditioning works when it gets really hot. We have 4th of July, people have parties, and when there's a lot of load on a system, which it can get into the 90s, sometimes it gets, even higher here in southern New Jersey and in the tri-state area, that's not something you want to deal with. And most companies are busy during that time. So you're not always going to get somebody to be out there same day. We're always going to do the best we can. And if you have a service agreement with us and you're a priority customer, we're going to, do our very best to get there. But maintenance is just going to help prevent all of that. We had a customer that we installed a new piece of equipment for, and they did not maintain the equipment at all. We received a phone call, I believe it was 7 or 8 years later, to go check out the system. It was not working, and it needed to be replaced because of lack of maintenance. There was no maintenance to the system, and that was ultimately the reason that it failed. And it wasn't a failure that could be fixed. It was related to the major functioning components, the safety of the system, and they had to replace it. So that system could have lasted 20 years if they maintained it annually. You're not talking about a massive investment. You're talking about a couple $100 a year, which is like, I think, $20 a month ish. How much do you spend on your cell phone or your Netflix, or, I would just make an argument like, what's more important? Yeah, I mean, as far as tune-ups go, like, I just think whether you're going to do some things yourself or you're going to have a professional come in, if you're going to have a professional come in, just understand that these specials that are out there, these super low cost, tune-up specials, just make sure you're asking what they include. There's a lot of companies out there that, their primary goal is to get into your home and ultimately replace your equipment, because that's where the money's made. We're not making tons of money on doing maintenance. We just do it because it's the right thing to do. And it does help us build relationships with our customers. And hopefully we earn their trust and they're willing to give us the opportunity to do the replacement when that time comes. And, our primary goal is not necessarily to come tell you to replace your equipment. It's to give you the options and explain to you and help you understand what you have and how that impacts, it's an investment. Some people are in a situation where maybe they're not prepared to replace it and they understand that it's getting older, it's not as efficient, but that's okay. We're not ready to do this yet. Some people are in a position that they want to have that efficiency, or because we deal with the utility programs, we can get them 0% financing or rebates, and now it makes sense. But deal with somebody who is going to give you those options and is not going to force you in one direction or another. I don't want to speak poorly of anybody else out there doing this and make assumptions about them, but I have seen that those very low cost tune-up prices are ask what's included, because you may not actually be getting a tune-up. Is there a checklist? Are they giving you exactly what they're doing? For example, we have a 21-point checklist of everything that we do. So at least that you're getting value. And do they stand behind it if they have if you have a problem? Nothing's ever perfect. Do they come right back out and make sure that they're warranting what they did? That's important. Yeah, so our process for a tune-up is pretty robust. So you would contact us if it's just whether it's for just a tune-up where you call up and you want it to be a one-time thing, we would recommend that you have a service agreement where we're coming out yearly, because that comes with more priority scheduling. We will proactively reach out to you because everybody's busy, they forget. You get a discount on repairs if you have an issue. Priority scheduling, we do prioritize our customers that prioritize their systems and understand the value in having a guy that they can call who's going to come out and take care of the equipment for them. And this past winter, where it was really, really cold, I think some of the customers who unfortunately we were not able to get to, because we had to prioritize those those customers with maintenance agreements, they had to wait, and we don't love to ask anybody to wait. We're huge on trying to get there the same day, but you can only do so much. So as far as tune-ups go, I would highly recommend a maintenance plan. You're always going to get your money's worth there, and we'll make sure that we get in there and we maintain that equipment. But as far as our process goes, you call, you schedule, whether you have a maintenance agreement or you don't. If you do, we'll call you. If you do not, you call us, we get you on the schedule. Technician comes out, he's just going to assess the equipment. We're very big on making sure that we try to educate the homeowner. This is what you have. This is how it works. This is things that we're concerned about. So we're going to take our time, and we're going to make sure that we're going through our checklist, every step, looking at every piece of equipment, whether we're there to check just the air conditioning. These, our guys are, our team is expected to look at all the different pieces of equipment to make sure, hey, your air conditioning is in great shape. We feel really confident about it. We did the tune-up. The hot water heater is, 20 years old. It looks like it's starting to weep. It's way outside its warranty. We're a little bit concerned about it. We don't want you to have an issue. We want to bring it to your attention. No pressure. You don't have to do anything, but it's our responsibility. We feel it's our responsibility to let you know. And that's something that we're consistently having conversations with our team about, to try to always get better at making sure that we're communicating, and um, letting everybody know about the things that we see and we're potentially concerned about.
Nice. Perfect.